Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I had a great day yesterday. I think I missed 2 teasers, is it? And that lucky, the teaser I lost both ends of it. So it's not like the loss took out 2 or 3. So it was a huge day. The locks, Alabama, -4.5, wins by a ton. Oklahoma over. I had over 53. They scored 60 some. That was an easy winner. My loss was Oklahoma State. I assume, was just flat from the Oklahoma win. I analyzed it and thought they wouldn't be. I thought they'd be okay because, they're going for the conference championship, and UCF, they didn't run their back. He had like 5 or 6 rushes for 20 yards. And the quarterback threw a couple interceptions. I was like, why didn't they run the guy more? That was the loser. So lock winners, Alabama, Oklahoma over, and Oak State was the loser, getting 3.5. They've been playing great ball. Other winners had the Penn State under, had Missouri, home dog. They win by 30. Georgia, big. They killed them. Texas, -3, came in. LSU, I was going to go over. I don't know. Well, it was 67, and then he was playing, and I didn't know what Florida would give me, and it went into the 80s. So, but I didn't play it, fortunately. I had my best one. I had Troy -15 with App State. Initially, I had it plus 8.5. Then I went to the over on it. It was over 56. Both of them won easily. Didn't play K-State. Wanted to. Didn't play Syracuse as a home dog. Won. The Iowa under, which would have won. Didn't play. Purdue. Didn't play it, hit it. Washington, I won lane 3. Utah played pretty well against them, 34-27. That one way over. Washington State, Cal over. That one way over. Cal's an over team. They score a lot. Oregon State killed Stanford. Didn't play that one. And then our page 2 games, Ohio State under, they get up 35-0, and they just sit in the second half. I always wonder how that happens. They can score it well in the first half, and then they just shut it down. A&M kills Old Mississippi State. UCLA under. Then I played this teaser, Boise over with San Jose State over. That wins easy. And then my loser at night, I have USC over 67. They play a 63. And I had it with Air Force, who lost straight out. Just a second, let me get my coffee. So, yeah, I lost with Oregon was close there, 63. And then Air Force loses outright Hawaii. So in 2 games, I lost my quarterback. The Kansas game, guy gets a concussion and hurts us. And then the Air Force game, the guy, he gets injured, the Air Force quarterback, and all of a sudden, like, Hawaii's winning, and I'm like, how are they even scoring? So that was a surprise, but okay. I got lucky as I had Kansas with Oklahoma State, a teaser, so I lost both. And then USC over with Air Force, I lost both. So if you're gonna, that's how you want to lose a teaser. I mean, once one side's gone, you don't mind if that's your other loser. And those were my only losers, so it was good. It was good the way it worked out, but I love hitting like the Boise over with the San Jose State over. San Jose State killed Fresno State. I don't know if Mikey Keene played, but it was a good day. I mean, I was happy. Been missing the second part of the teaser. So I'll hit the Michigan under, and then I lose the Ohio State under, for example. So it's been getting frustrating. But yesterday, when the Ohio State under came through, I was like, okay, finally, I finished the teaser. That's what I've been missing. Hey, Craig or John. So anyway, very, very strong game. Strong play yesterday. 35-unit teaser is Alabama, which wins very easily. And I have it with the pro today. Your free play today is San Diego. I have another lock going today. So I have 3 teams locked today. Pretty good plays today. I think I figured it out for the most part, but, play the strong and bet against the weak. So when we look at the week today, Indy's up 7-3 at half. Like, who cares? All it is a miss bet because, it's already gone. It's 11-17. The game started at 9:30. Like, what the hell are they doing? What is the point of this game? You make 2 teams travel to Europe, get off their time zone, get off of everything, between the jet lag and the time zone. Let's go play at 9:30 on a Sunday when you normally play at 1. Who the hell is betting this shit? I mean, that's crazy. I keep looking for Cincinnati. Well, let's go through the lines. But I keep looking for Chase, and he's still questionable with the back. He's not out, which is good. And T. Higgins is out. So you're just hoping he plays. 7-3 Colts, 8:38 in the third quarter. I don't know. All right, let's go through it. Baltimore, 6.5, 38.5 to Cleveland. My score 20-17 Baltimore. I think it's close. I think what is it? Garrett for Cleveland. Myles Garrett, I think, neutralizes Lamar pretty good. They have a very strong defense. They're a 17. Baltimore with a 14. Now, what's been happening, like last week, Lamar got hot against my Seattle team, and and they won. They blew them out, but it wasn't high scoring, and Seattle didn't score, which is unusual because they're very high scoring. Now you've got Cleveland, who has a good defense, should keep Baltimore in check more. I mean, when we look at it, we have Seattle's a 22 defense and Cleveland's a 17 defense. So look for this game to be about 20-17, I think. I don't think Baltimore runs and hides. I think it'll be a little closer than that. So I think it'll be a close game, and I think it'll be a low-scoring one. Cincinnati 5.5, 46.5. I don't know. I'm basing it on Houston's. First of all, Stroud. All right, had a big week against Tampa. Who cares? Tampa, what's their defense? Tampa's a 21 defense. Cincinnati's a 20. But with it's Joe Burrow, I don't. Houston's got a 21 defense. I just think they just beat the Niners and Buffalo. I don't see them losing to Houston. I don't think Houston's all that good. You're getting a strong defense here with Cincinnati. They just stopped, Purdy and Allen. I can't see them lose. They have to win. Houston, they're like 3-4 or something, but I don't, Stroud against Burrow, I got to take Burrow all day. So again, I keep waiting for Chase, but I don't see him. He's questionable. The game starts at 1:00. It's 11:30. He's still questionable. We'll check again. Maybe by 12:30 he'll be. That's why I like doing the class now. We can check the line movements and the injury updates. This is a good avocado. Nice and green. Some of them I get are like just old and they're terrible. You just throw those out. Anyway, breakfast with the professor again. So, since he needs it, they're 2 games down from Baltimore. They're tied with Pitt and Cleveland. Now, Cleveland or Baltimore is going to lose. So, Cincinnati wins. They're either tied for first or now they're in second. We will see. Frisco 344.5. I'll go through the injuries in a minute. This went 3.5, 45.5, 44.5. The Niners off of 3 losses in a row. What can I say? I think they'll murder Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a mystery to me. They win, but who did they beat? They beat Houston and Indy, who's in their division, who aren't very good teams. They lost to Kansas City, 19-7 or 17-9 or something. They got lucky with Buffalo beating them. They did the 2 games in London where they won both of those, but they go every year to London. So I think they know, I think it's a big advantage to them. And these other teams going to London are looking around and looking to see the Queen. And, I think it's like when you go to the Super Bowl. I mean, you go and you're all in awe. Or when Michigan used to go to the Rose Bowl, they'd be all like, let's go to Disneyland and Universal. And USC's like, well, we live here. We don't need to go to those. We're gonna practice. So I think Jacksonville's been there enough, but they don't need to see the Parliament and in these places. So that's a big advantage. They're used to the time. So they won 2 games in London. I kind of think it's unfair. The second one with Buffalo was very unfair because they stayed and Buffalo had to fly in. I thought that was ridiculous. So I don't know. I don't like Trevor Lawrence. He runs more. He's not a good passer. He runs more, and they've been running that mean, and they've been doing these little misdirections. So I think the Niners will be ready. I think they'll put pressure on them. I think Purdy will have a big day. Deebo Samuel is back. McCaffrey. I don't know what kind of defense Jacksonville has. I mean, it says they're a 20. The Indy game, they gave up 31. Otherwise, but they're not like Baltimore defense or San Francisco defense. or Kansas City defense or even Denver defense. They're not that strong. So the Niners off of 3 losses, and it's -3, but I get +3 in the teaser, right? So I got Frisco +3. I don't think they're going to lose this game, but if they do, I still have the 3 points. Over under 44.5. I'm picking 27-13, the Niners. I don't know what to do with that, because whenever you got the Niner defense, it's hard to really go over. I think shut them down pretty good here. New Orleans 2.5, 40.5. It's Carr against Hall or against Dobbs. Hall's out. Cousins out, so it's Dobbs. Dobbs got benched by Arizona. He's not really good. It was a fluke last week. He ran a lot. I don't think New Orleans is gonna be, shocked by that. And maybe they saw him at Arizona. I don't know, but I like New Orleans in this game. I got them 24-13. You got a 19 defense, New Orleans, and a 21 Minnesota. So they're playing better defense than you think. But I just like that. You got Carr, you got Kamara, you got Olave, and you got Thomas. So everybody's go. Jefferson's out. He said, I'm not playing unless my hamstring's 100%. Translation, I'm not going to play with Joshua Dobbs. I don't mind Cousins. He probably would have played today. But with Dobbs, he's kind of thinking, this is what you're going to have me throw to. I'm going to have this hamstring for a while. So, Minnesota's an under team, 21 defense, but they don't have, Dobbs is not, Cousins isn't any good, but Dobbs is not good. He's trying to run the ball a little. Again, I got New Orleans +3.5. There's no way that's losing tonight. Yeah. All right. Pittsburgh 38.5. We got Love against Pickett. We got 2 under teams, 220 defenses. Love's horrible, as we see. They're gonna do nothing. I got 24-14 here. I don't know that Green Bay can get to 14 against this defense. It might be 24-3 or 24-7. Should be very low scoring. Should be Pittsburgh, I think, win. Pickett's playing better. He's not that bad. Love is that bad. Love's terrible. So, again, what do I say? You play an over when you got Mahomes against Brady, right? That's going over. In this case, you got Love against Pickett. Again, attack, play strength, bet against weakness. Well, the weakness here is both quarterbacks are pretty bad, although Pickett's showing signs. So then it becomes, where are you going to get the points from? You don't have good quarterbacks. So I think it's more of an under. And I think Pittsburgh wins it. I just don't like Love at all. And now you're going against the Steeler defense, right? You're going against a real defense, not Chicago. Tampa Bay up to 2.5, 38.5. This line moved. Don't know why. Mayfield against Levis. Levis is starting. Henry's fine. I think they're a very live dog here at Tennessee. Both teams are under a 20 defense and a 21 defense. Last year, by the end, all the defenses were like 21, 22, 23. You had the Lions at like 30, and you had I think Buffalo was a 17. But basically, it tends to group up where all the defenses, it's not like college where you got these 35, 38 defenses. Here it's, 20 and a 21. But I like the dog here, Tennessee, getting 8.5. I like the under because they're both under teams. Levis, we'll see how good he is. Tampa, I don't, I'm not buying this Tampa great defense. Not like it was, but Mayfield. So it should be a close game. They played a high-scoring one with Houston last week. See, this is the problem. So Houston plays Tampa. Stroud throws for 5 touchdowns, a 39-38 game. I look at the game in reverse. I look at the game as they have a weak defense. And who did they play? Houston's got a 21 defense, but again, they played Jacksonville twice, and Indy twice, so they played weak teams also. Carolina. Houston goes to Carolina and loses 15-13. I mean, what the fuck? So you like CJ Stroud, huh? And then he goes to Tampa and it's 39-37. Okay. So it's very inconsistent. But here you got Tennessee. Levis, I don't think he'll light it up. Could be a higher scoring game. I got 20-17. It could be a little bit higher. I'm not sure what the line went from 1.5 to 2.5. But I think I like the dog and I think I like the under, but I'm a little curious about the under after the Houston game. Probably feel better with Tennessee as the dog in this one. But both teams are under teams statistically. Atlanta's up to 2.5, 43.5 against Arizona. I got 24-10 Atlanta. Now, Kyler Murray, I guess, is playing against Heineken for Atlanta. Atlanta's an under team. They run the ball a lot. That's why they got Heineken playing. Big trend against Arizona, 22-4, but that's without Kyler Murray hasn't played this year. Arizona's a Z team again without Kyler Murray. So this is where you really get fucked on the trend analysis. What do I do? Arizona, this is week 10, so for 9 weeks, maybe 8, if they had a bye, you're dealing with Joshua Dobbs. I mean, and they won 1 game. So it's really difficult. The defense sucks. It's 27. Atlanta, Atlanta's got what's his name back? They got a good receiver back. I can't think of his name. But again, Atlanta is a road favorite. I don't like road favorites in the NFL unless it's San Francisco or Philadelphia or Kansas City. You've got to have a good quarterback to be a road favorite and a good defense. So you're running the ball, your quarterback doesn't panic with the crowd noise. So speaking of that, Detroit down to 2.5, 48.5. Speaking about a quarterback that panics on the road when there's crowd noise, Jared Goff, here we go. Look at him at Baltimore, had deer in the headlights, lost to Seattle. Got lucky. He went to Tampa and he went to Carolina. No, Carolina, I think, was home in Detroit. So he goes to, again, they win at Green Bay. So they win at Green Bay, win at Tampa. Who doesn't? And they beat Atlanta and they beat Oakland at home and they beat Carolina at home. So not really good quarterbacks they're beating. We saw Steve Young on Thursday night against Carolina, threw for 100 yards against the fucking Bear defense. The Bears 27 defense. That's a mistake. This guy's terrible, Young. And then they traded away his receiver, which really made no sense. So you trade the receiver away to get Young. Oh my God. Terrible move there. But if you throw up 100 yards against the Bears, you suck. Believe me, Bo Nix would have thrown up 300. So the Lions here, why are they favored? I got San Diego by 7. This is your free pick. Absolutely. Goff against Herbert. Detroit's an E team, so they score in the mid-20s, give up 21. San Diego's more of an over team. They score upper 20s, give up 24. So they play higher scoring games. I mean, why Detroit's a 2.5 point favorite is beyond comprehension. That's like going for it 4-1 against Ohio State. It's not going to happen. I just see this. I got San Diego winning 27-21. I think it'll be a little higher scoring. But I got Herbert against this secondary, thank you very much. I'm pretty healthy. The dog in the San Diego game covers like 90% of the time. San Diego's 22-3 the last 2 years in a teaser, last 25. So I got a lot of 90% trends going today. Hopefully that helps. I got 27-21 San Diego. I can't see them losing, and we got 9 points. Wow. All right. Dallas 17.5, 38.5 to the Giants with Danny DeVito as the quarterback. Wow. I saw him a little at Syracuse, I think, or Illinois, and he's not very good. He's not an NFL pro quarterback, and he's playing Dallas. What the hell is this guy going to do against Micah Parsons? Will he complete 5 passes? I got 37-0 Dallas. Giants are a Z team with whoever, with Jones. They can't score. They give up 24. Dallas is an A team, gives up 19. Lost to Philly last week, so they have to win. This is a must-win for them. I 37-0. I think they shut him out. I don't think DeVito completes 10 passes. Matchup heavily favors Dallas. The only problem is, do I lay 11.5? I mean, because I could get a Prescott. We know he's going to throw a couple interceptions. The Giant defense, they played Buffalo pretty tight. It is NFL. They do have Shaquan Barkley, so I think they're going to do what they did in that other game, run Barkley 50 times. I think they just run, punt, run. Maybe he gets the first down, maybe a little swing pass. They're just going to eat up the clock. Dallas with Prescott, I mean, you're going to get a couple interceptions, and maybe, I don't know how bad the Giant defense is. Not against Buffalo, it wasn't too bad. I think this is, I think it's an under 45. Like I said, 37-0. I think that's about right. I mean, it's the score right around in the mid-30s. Seattle, 5.5, 44.5. To Washington, Howell versus Smith. Washington's a W team that gives up 27. So they score 20, give up 27. Seattle's an under team. They're not scoring a lot, giving up 22. And I don't know why they're not scoring a lot. They've got Lockett and Metcalf healthy. They got today the Georgia guy, my Georgia boys running today. They got McIntosh. He's very good. We've got and Walker from Michigan State's playing too. Again, Howell and Smith, neither of them are great. You got a 27 defense for Washington and a 22 for Seattle. I think this is a higher scoring game. I got 27-24 Seattle based on the Cleveland win, 24-20, where they won at the last second. They do not blow out at home like you think Seattle should or does or did. Not anymore. They play a lot of close games at home. Maybe they win it, maybe they won't. You can't really trust them like, I don't know. Like Dallas. I trust Dallas will win today. That's about as far as I go. I don't know by how many, and I hate laying a lot of points in an NFL game because they're all fixed. But I think in this situation, I think Seattle should win. I don't know if I can trust them to win, but I think they should win. I got 27-24. I think it's an over. Howell scores points. Seattle should have a big offense today against this 27 defense. The JETS's -1.5 now. This went Oakland favorite. Now it's back to the Jets. And 36 is the under from 37. I got a 16-3 game for the Jets. Wilson against O'Connell. I hardly think O'Connell is going to light up the Jets. Very strong defense. The Jets with an 18 defense, which is Cleveland. The Niners have an 18, and Cleveland's got a 17, and Baltimore's got a 14. So we know the Jets very strong defensively. O'Connell, what's he going to do? But then Wilson, what's he going to do? So, 16-3. I think it's. I don't know if they'll shut out Oakland. It wouldn't surprise me, but it should be low. Hey, Alex, how are you? So we've got. That's what I think there. I think it's a low scoring Jets 16-3. And last but not least, Buffalo 747.5. Wilson against Allen. You got an over team in Denver, who I'm not sure isn't near a B team right now. They're scoring. They're playing much better defense. They killed Kansas City. Let's not just ignore that. Air Force quarterback got hurt. So we lose the Kansas game because I saw the play. He's running and I don't know. He got tackled and he got hurt. Air Force the same thing. The quarterback gets hurt. He's like 1 of 2, and I don't know where Hawaii got the points from, but that was it. So yeah, and I only had 4 losses yesterday. I had Oak State and Kansas, and I had the Air Force and the USC under or over. That was it. Everything else, Ohio State under, Michigan under, Georgia, Alabama. It was a beautiful day. Oklahoma over. So, yeah, it takes a hurt quarterback to beat us now. And it's just amazing. And then when the other team loses their quarterback, the guy comes in and is better. So we don't gain by our the other quarterback getting hurt. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Oak State, what happened? They didn't give the ball to Ollie. I mean, he had like 5 rushes for 20 yards. You're like, okay, you've got Jim Brown in your backfield. You probably need to give him the ball like 30 times. And he'll score. He'll get 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. But if you give him the ball 5 times, he probably won't. Bowman threw a couple interceptions. I didn't think they'd be that flat from the Oklahoma win. So, but now you got Oklahoma State off a loss. Oklahoma off of 2 losses came back really good. And I expect the Niners off of 3 losses to follow that up. I think I have an Oklahoma over with the Niners today. Oklahoma, they got mad, which is fine. That shows you how good Oak State and Kansas are. They beat them. I think Oak State, they're still good. Bowman, it's just UCF. I don't know. They look shit against these other teams, so that's the problem. Plumlee had a good game. They hit the Washington State over. Oregon State killed. I hit the Boise over with the San Jose State over. I was psyched on that one. Well, yeah, Georgia, Bama, that was gold. I knew Bama because Kentucky they're really not that good. When I did their defense in conference, it's a 33. So Alabama's going to kill them, and that Alabama's defense, and they have to win, and they have their loss. The best thing that happened to us is Alabama lost to Texas, and then they've been pissed ever since. And Georgia's Georgia. I mean, there's no way Ole Miss is. After watching Ole Miss against Alabama, I wasn't too worried about that. But yeah, when you need it, go to the cream. The cream rises to the top. But hit the Michigan under with Ohio State under. That first half, Ohio State 35-3. I'm like, well, maybe. And then they didn't do anything in the second half. I don't understand that. I love the Michigan-Ohio State game. I'm going to love the dog, and I'm going to love the under. The under might be the biggest lock of the year because good luck scoring on this team. All right, Michigan, I'm watching their little plays, and they seem to have 3 tackles on the left side and they run to it. Well, okay. I've seen it a couple of times. I know when they line up the 3 guys, they're going that way. You don't need signal. You don't need to steal signals to know that. Just J.J. McCarthy, I think if you just blitz him, he'll be choke city like Trevor Lawrence. LSU over is a weekly lock. Well, I had to wait because Daniels got when he hurt his jaw on that cheap Alabama hit, and he actually got a concussion on it. So he was questionable all week. So I had to wait. And then he's finally, I think Thursday night, they said he's playing. My problem there was I didn't know if Florida could score. I know LSU's defense is terrible, but can they score? So I think you got Oklahoma as an over every week. LSU is an over. I think Washington and Oregon State are better. Or Washington State disappeared. They lost to Arizona 44-6. They lost to Stanford 10-7. It's like, what the fuck? So I got off of Washington State over. Cal was an over team. They score 50, no problem. They give up 50, no problem. They're definitely that. Duke played North Carolina pretty good considering they didn't have Ray Leonard. I was surprised by that score. I didn't play the game, but I did notice it went into the 40s in double overtime. Miami did not play Van Dyke. I couldn't believe it. The other quarterback was in, and I don't think Van Dyke was. I looked at the injury list. I didn't even see him on the injured list. This is how stupid the coach is. The biggest game of the year against Florida State, he doesn't play Van Dyke, and he loses by 7. This coach has to be fired. I'll never bet on Miami again with this coach. How do you not play Van Dyke? Oh, you want to blame Van Dyke because he threw an interception when it's clearly the play calling that sucks? I don't know about that. Van Dyke was in, because the guy got hurt. And he threw an interception on the stupid play call. But, again, you got to be careful on these rivalry games. I'd have thought Florida State would have killed them. And, it's 27-20. So the line was 14.5. See, this is why I like teasing the dog in the rivalry games because, Miami played a good game. They're handicapped by the coach. All right. So last game, Buffalo 747.5. Denver, the O team, gives up 22, but I think it's much better than that. I think their offense is in gear because of Sean Payton. Russell Wilson looks like a real quarterback this year. Funny how you have a good coach. You obviously look like a much better quarterback. Judy plays every week. Like before, he'd be hamstringing it. Not now. Now he's in there every week. Buffalo's an A team that I question. They got crushed by Cincinnati. They barely beat the Giants. They lost to Jacksonville. This is not an A team I'm watching. They are at home. They got an 18 defense. Von Miller doesn't look the same. They lost Milano. Micah Hyde's out. And Denver's playing very strong. I mean, twice they played Kansas City, and neither time did KC get 20 points. The last time, Kansas City didn't get 10 points. So don't tell me this is a terrible defense. It's a terrible defense because Miami put up a 70. So let's take this like college. Let's take the high school game out. Let's say they gave up 30. Now where are they at? They're about a 21-22 defense. Let's look at them the last 4 weeks. 2 Kansas City's under 20. So with that said, I think Denver wins 20-17. I like Denver in 13 all day. And 47, I'd be going under 53. I don't know where you're going to get that from. Strong defense. And Buffalo, where were they? They didn't show up against Jacksonville. That's the travel. They didn't show up against the Giants. They scored 15 on the Giants. Let's see what Dallas does today. And then they basically got 10 on Cincinnati with a late touchdown. Why do these teams go for two? So it's 24-10 Cincinnati. Buffalo scores late, goes for two, and now it's 24-18. But if they miss, it's 24-16, and they need a 2-point conversion. Why don't they just kick the extra point, and now it's 24-17? I noticed that when the teams are down 14, a lot of them will go for two, and if they miss, they're down 8. Now they need a 2 to just tie. Very rarely do they make it. So then what? Then they get the ball back and get a touchdown, the extra point to win. So you're playing to win. You're down 14. You're playing. If you're going to play to win, you've got to go for the extra point, get down 7. Now go for the win at the end of the game. I understand. But to go for the 2, and if you miss it, now you need a touchdown and 2 to tie. So your odds are pretty bad to get the 2-pointer. So I don't understand this whole algorithm analytics bullshit. It's not proven. I don't buy it. Somebody did that yesterday. I think it was Penn State, right? It's 4th and 1, and they punted. And the announcer was shocked. It was like midfield, 4th and 1. They punt the ball. And the announcer, I would have went for it. You're playing to win. You have a defense. Punt Michigan deep, which they did. I think Michigan got the ball to 3 plays, and then Michigan had to punt the ball back. Instead of giving Michigan the ball at midfield, that's not playing to win. That's playing to lose. Playing to win is I have a defense too. I have a punter. Maybe Michigan fumbles the punt. Maybe I get roughing the punter. Or geez, they get the ball at the 5-yard line. Maybe I stop them because I have a good defense. So I'm so tired of these announcers all thinking going for 4th and 1 or 2 is a good thing to do. They all think it. Troy Aikman, Collinsworth, they all these idiots. Oh no, that was good. They're going for the win. They're aggressive. I like that. That's not aggressive. That's stupidity. That's like Joe Biden being in the Ukraine. That's not smart. That's stupid. You can't beat the Russians. You're losing 72-0. What are we going to? Well, we're sending more money to the Russians or to the Ukrainians, but all our artillery that we're sending there is ending up in Hamas and Mexico's hands. Hamas has all the weapons we've sent Ukraine, and all the stuff we left in Afghanistan at the airport. All those billions of dollars of weapons. Guess who has it? Hamas. Did we leave it there by accident? So I'm moving. Do I forget to pack my Mahomes 50 count card? Oh yeah, I forgot it. Yeah, bullshit. I forgot it. What do you're not saying, okay, how do we get our weapons out? We need a plan to get the weapons out. Okay. Are you shitting me that they didn't leave it on purpose? They're so transparently stupid. The whole Biden administration, well, Obama administration, I guess. Or the George Soros administration, whoever the fuck's in charge. Anyway, so those are the lines. Let's look at the injuries. So really the only injury I care about right now is Jamar Chase. He's still questionable with the back unless somebody heard that he's playing. Arizona's got Connor playing, and it looks like Kyler Murray playing. No, I'm not moving. It's an example of getting out of Afghanistan and leaving all the weapons like it was a mistake. And I'm saying it wasn't a mistake. It was done on purpose because now all the weapons Hamas has in this war with Israel that we're behind. Why do we want a war in Israel? Why are we allowing this? And then why are they fighting? What are they fighting for? Nobody wants a war. Nobody wins except for the defense contractors selling the weapons. But in our case, we've already given all our weapons to the Ukraine. We have no weapons. We don't have an army. We don't have a weapon. So we aren't going to Taiwan. That never will happen. Anyway, Atlanta. Yeah, Cordell Patterson. That's what I'm thinking. He's playing. Drake London's playing. One guy that I told you about last year, Ali, the running back from Marshall, had a huge day. He had like 250 yards, 5 touchdowns. He's a very good running back. He hasn't done much this year, but I saw him in the stats, and I said, oh, okay, yeah, he's there. He's very good. I was mentioning him last year. Baltimore, Bateman, the wide receiver playing. That's it. I mean, we don't know. Buffalo, let's see. Josh Allen probable with the shoulder. Micah Hyde's out. Diggs is probable with the back. He's got the same back as Chase. Hamlin, the other safety's questionable with this. Oh, what is this illness? Somebody else had an illness. What is it, a flu? I mean, what is it? Knox, the tight end's out, and that's it. Milano, of course, the linebacker's out. But I don't see Von Miller, so he must be all right. Carolina and Chicago already played. Cincinnati, Jamar Chase. Higgins is out. Chase, questionable with the back. Well, okay, guys, it's 12 o'clock. Your game starts in an hour. Either he's playing or he isn't playing. The line going to 5.5 might mean he's not, but I don't know. I bet Cincinnati. So I'm taking Joe Burrow if he's got to pull guys out of the crowd or get some LSU guys from yesterday. That'll be fine. But maybe Bobby's gone to Cincinnati to play wide receiver for Chase. We'll see. Otherwise, I don't know. T. Higgins out with the hamstring, I knew, and Chase is questionable. So with a guy like Burrow, it doesn't matter. He'll throw to the tight ends. He'll throw to the run. They'll put a running back in it, wide receiver. There's a lot of things you can do with your wide receiver hurt, like your tight ends and your running backs. So I'm not too concerned. The key's Joe Burrow. He's playing. We saw when he wasn't healthy what they look like, and we see when he is healthy what they look like. Cleveland, tight end probable, a couple of receivers out. Watson is probable with his shoulder. He won't do shit today against Baltimore's defense. Grant Delpit, LSU safety is probable. I didn't know he was still playing. Okay. Nick Chubb's out, of course. That's about it. Dallas. Is there anybody that we actually know? No. Denver. Fairly healthy. I mean, the guys that are out, we have no idea who they are. As long as Russell Wilson's okay. The Lions, let's see. Montgomery's probable with the ribs for a while until he gets him hurt again. That's about it. I'm waiting for Hooker, why they're not playing him yet. He's still out with the knee, but this is as of July. You got to get him in the lineup. You've got to, instead of like, well, let's see what we got. Well, you got him. Get him out there. He's much better than Goff. And you drafted him in the 3rd round. You need to know. Like this Williams, the receiver's terrible. He can't even catch a ball. That's a total bust. The 1st round pick this year, the running back's a total bust. You shouldn't have wasted a 1st round pick on a guy that the guy on Seattle, McIntosh, the 7th round pick, is better than the Alabama guy by a mile. It's not even close. So you wasted 2 1st round picks you waste on the Alabama guys. Way to go. And everybody thinks the GM's so smart. Yeah, real smart. Instead of getting the Philadelphia guy or the Georgia guy that Philly took, you take a running back that nobody ever heard of out of Alabama who wasn't good at Alabama. Yeah, okay, whatever. That's the Lions. Green Bay, Aaron Jones is probable with the hamstring. Quay Walker from Georgia is doubtful with the groin. Watson's playing the receiver. Bakhtiari, gee, he's out with a knee. That's a surprise. Houston, Stingley is actually going to play the cornerback from LSU. The LSU's guy plays. The Alabama guys all sit out. A lot of injuries. Out. Nico comes out. Pierce out, the running back. 3 offensive tackles are probable. Never heard of any of them. But you're facing Joe Burrow, so you're in big trouble, fellas. Look at that. I mean, there's like 25 guys out, IRs. I mean, this is the problem. Part of the problem we're dealing with is in betting mostly the NFL, is all the injuries. I mean, you're betting on 4-string safeties. That's why you see all these penalties for interference, because this guy shouldn't even be in the league. He's playing cornerback and safety, and he's grabbing onto the receiver, and the refs probably aren't making too bad of calls. I question, should they be making the call? I don't think if you see holding, if the ball is a running play, like in the Ohio State game against Penn State, they're rushing the quarterback, they sack him, they get the ball, and they go for a touchdown. You probably don't throw the flag for that to bail them out. They didn't throw the ball to them, so therefore, why would you make that call? That's what I question, is the making of the call, because there's penalties. You could call offensive holding every play. You can call pass interference. They're always touching the receiver. So I don't know. I just I think the refs are the worst I've ever seen. But a lot of it is you're dealing with 4th, 5th stringers. Indy's already playing. We don't care. Jacksonville, they got the Niners. Let's see. Zach Jones, the wide receiver's out. Let's see. Questionable. Cornerback out. That's it. Not a lot. Kansas City's off this week. San Diego, Herbert, probable with the finger. The finger's on his left hand. Why is he even on the injury report? And then Joey Bosa is probable with the illness. What has he got, the flu? I mean, I don't know. Why don't they call it what it is? Why do they call it an illness? And we know Mike Williams is out. We don't care. We got Keenan Allen, and we got Eckert, and we got the guy from UCLA. LA is off. Oakland. Hoyer's probable. Are we getting Hoyer or are we getting O'Connell? I think O'Connell's starting anyway. Crosby's probable with the knee, which is good if we're taking the game under. You want Crosby out there. Linebackers are probable, which is good because we want the under. That's about it. Miami is off. Minnesota. Jefferson out with the hamstring. I'm not playing till it's 100%. Hawkinson's playing. Hall is out. Cousins is out, which leaves it to Dobbs, who got benched by Arizona. Don't forget that. Don't start betting on Minnesota because Dobbs got lucky last week running. Cam Akers out with an Achilles. Cousins out with the Achilles. All right, the Giants. They don't have anybody worth talking about anyway. Jones, IR with the knee. His career is probably over because who wants him? Waller from the Raiders. What a stupid move. So here's Derek Waller's all-star at Oakland. Unhappy, goes to the Giants. Clearly for the money, and now he gets to play with Daniel Jones. This is a stupid move. I mean, I could see going to Cincinnati and playing with Burrow or something like your Mahomes, but to go play with Daniel Jones, you got to be out of your fucking mind. The Jets, a lot of probables. See, the Jets, man, Lazard, he's playing. Linebackers out. questionable. A couple of tackles out, another tackle probable. Randall Cobb's questionable with the shoulder, and a couple outs. So there's just so many injuries. New England's playing now. Look at New England. Half the teams, they've got to have out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They got 12 guys out, New England. New Orleans, Jimmy Graham's probable. I don't know who K. Miller is, the running back. Philadelphia, they're off. Pittsburgh, linebacker probable. Haywood, defensive tackle probable. Mika Fitzpatrick is out with the hamstring. So many hamstring injuries. Yeah, keep them out of training camp, guys. That's a real smart move. We don't want to get them injured. They'll all have hamstring problems, but we don't want to get them injured in a preseason game. God forbid that. 49ers, Trent Williams, tackle, probable. See a couple guys out, a couple defensive linemen. Ray McLeod, probable. Another linebacker question. So they got like questions with their linebackers, but I don't see the one that we need. Greenlaw is probable. Deebo Samuel is probable. So they're coming to play. They ain't losing 4 in a row. Seattle, Kenny McIntosh probable. Metcalf probable. Adams probable, the safety. Kenneth Walker probable with the chest. Smith Najima probable. Lockett probable with the hamstring. Noah Fant probable with the wrist. DJ Dallas questionable. I think Seattle has a good game. Tampa, Vita V probable with the groin. That's about it. Tennessee, Tannehill doubtful with an ankle, so it means you're getting Levis, which is what we thought. And if he gets hurt, you're in trouble against Tampa because you don't have who's their backup. It was Dobbs. It's funny. Dobbs was on Tennessee last year. He looked like shit. He played for Pittsburgh. He looked like shit. He goes to Arizona. He looks like shit. He goes to Minnesota. He runs around and they win it. But he's going to look like shit against New Orleans today. I guarantee it. He's not a good quarterback. I couldn't believe he got drafted. He was nothing. He played at Tennessee. He was nothing. I don't remember betting on him or trying to make money on him. Who is this? Tennessee. Couple of linebackers, never heard of. Hubbard. Will Levis, probable with the foot. Haskins from Michigan, IR with an upper body. Who knows? I love when the guy plays at Michigan and then he comes to the pros and he's hurt and they don't even play him. Like UTSA guy. Why isn't Oakland playing that guy? I mean, he's a great running back. He's not even active. It's like, geez, I wonder why you've won 2 games all year. Washington, I don't know who this Samuel is, probable with the toe. Dotson, probable, the receivers. So the receivers are going. Their linemen are out. That's about it. So I don't know if we'll ever hear about Chase. I'll have to go to the line and just tell me about Cincinnati. I need the 8 ball. Is Chase playing today? And they're 5.5, 46.5. I don't know what to say. So that's football. We got 3 locks going today. We had 3 locks yesterday. I hit 2. Ella fucking Bama. They're fun to lock. They're only laying 10 to Kentucky. First score I see 28-7 Alabama. I go, that's a winner. And you don't have to worry. They don't blow the lead. They play very good. When you bet them and they got the lead, you won. Unless they're playing Georgia. But that's their poison. So you just, as long as it's not Georgia, you pound on them. Mississippi State looks really bad. Texas A&M killed them. They could be our bitch. Mississippi State. Just who are they playing? Bet against. Take the other team. So we'll keep an eye out for Oak State and Kansas next week. Now Kansas Bean got hurt, but I think it's a concussion, and Oak State just ran into a buzzsaw with UCF. Probably flat after the Oklahoma game. We'll see. Missouri looked good. Georgia, Alabama looked good. Texas's quarterback came back. TCU put up a fight. Washington against Utah. Well, Utah looked pretty good. We won because they won by 7. But I don't know how strong Washington is. Utah shouldn't be able to score that many points on a good defense. I don't think they did against Oregon. I think Oregon's got the best defense there. Even though I think it's Utah, Arizona, Colorado, that was high scoring, which I was shocked. I'm glad I didn't play the game under. I didn't play the game. I'm glad I didn't play it under because I wasn't sure what to do with Arizona, and I was surprised Colorado put it up. But everybody who thought Colorado was going to make the playoff and the Heisman for Prime Junior, yeah, now where are you, boys? I don't think so. See, that's why you got to watch. Let's see after they play Washington and Oregon. Now let's see how good Colorado is. Oh, yeah, I guess they're not too good. All right, so we'll go through it one more time. Cincinnati 5.5, 46.5. Cincinnati 27-17. New Orleans 2.5, 41 against Minnesota. New Orleans 24-13. Stroud against Burrow. This is Carr against Dobbs. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's all Kamara and everything. Green Bay, Pitt 3, 38.5. Love against Pickett. 24-14 Pitt. Tennessee, Tampa 2.5, 38.5. I got 2017 Tennessee. Frisco, Jacksonville. Frisco 3, 44.5. Off of 3 straight losses, I got the Niners 27-13. They're not losing 4 in a row. No, not. I can't believe they lost 3. I do understand though, and I was careful when they played Cincinnati. I actually had Cincinnati last week because of Joe Burrow, so you got to respect it. But I'm not Jacksonville. The game ain't in London. They're not very good. Baltimore 6.5, 39.5. It looks like 38.5, 39.5. I got Baltimore 20-17. This should be a defensive struggle. Atlanta 2.5, 43.5. I got Atlanta 24-10. Heineken against Murray. Watson against Lamar. Purdy against Lawrence. Levis against Mayfield. Detroit, San Diego. Detroit 3, 48.5. San Diego 27-21. Goff against Herbert. Dallas 17.5, 39.5 to the Giants. Dallas 37-0. DeVito against Prescott. I'm not sure Prescott's better than him, but at this point he is. Seattle 5.5, 45 to Washington. Howell against Smith. I got 27-24 Seattle. The JETSs are 1.5, 36. I got the Jets 16-3. And Denver, Buffalo 7, 47. Russell Wilson against Allen. I got Denver 20-17. I'm not sure Buffalo can get 17, but definitely see Denver winning the game. So that is today. So the team with the back against the wall is like Cincinnati. Well, let's put it this way. The teams that really need to win, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, the Niners off of 3 losses in a row. Baltimore, Cleveland. Cleveland needs the game. Baltimore's in first place. Let's see how good Lamar is against a real defense. Myles Garrett. Detroit, San Diego. San Diego needs the game. Detroit doesn't. Dallas needs the game against the Giants, 2.5 behind Philly. Seattle needs the game. They're tied with San Francisco, and they know, well, we got to keep winning. The Jets need the game. They're in the race. Buffalo loses. Miami's a fake leader against any good team. Miami chokes. And then Denver, Buffalo, both teams. Well, yeah, both teams need it. Buffalo's a game back at Miami, and Denver's, needs to put together a lot of wins to catch KC. But they have beaten KC. They won and lost, so that's good, and they've got them done with. So they got to play San Diego twice, and they get the Raiders twice. So that's what we have. 3 locks going. www.teaserking.com. You can buy the locks. You can buy the picks today. Like I said, 2-1 in my locks yesterday. Alabama and the over in the Oklahoma game, and I lost Oak State, which my mistake locking it because of the big win against Oklahoma. I took that into consideration, and it came back to bite me. Otherwise, I was like, 15-4 yesterday. I was so hot. Yeah, probably should have locked Georgia instead of Oak State, but I played Georgia, but oh well. Got an interesting email today about they might recall the money in December, but it was like a sales call. It was like you had to watch the stupid video that, who knows went on, and it's a sales pitch. Are they recalling the money? They're not going to recall it. What they'll do is say, okay, we want you to use this money, and it won't be CBDCs because the banks don't want CBDCs. So I think what happens is they might come out with new currency in 2024, which will just exchange it. I don't know what happens to the credit cards and the mortgage and your assets. So basically, this is priced at dollars, right? So we're using this medium of exchange to price this. So let's say this is $100. This is old. In 1997, it was 12 years old. So this, you need, let's say $100 to buy this. Now this goes away. This is gone. We already know it's worthless. So now we've got this new medium of exchange, this new dollar. What is the price of this in the new dollar? And it won't be a CBDC because the banks, that's central bank. Well, Chase and Wells Fargo are not central banks. So therefore they do not want the dollar, the central, the digital dollar CBDC to come out. Then there's no need for the bank, and the bank goes out. The banks aren't going out. Although I did yesterday that JP Morgan's criminal president, Diamond, sold like 1 million shares of his JP Morgan stock. So he sold a lot of it. Why is he selling, But so there'll be a new dollar out, not a digital dollar. That's impossible right now. So with that said, I'm not sure what happens, because if you're pricing this in dollars and the dollar goes out, this loses value. This is now zero because there is no dollar. But now whatever the medium of exchange is, this will get repriced in the new medium of exchange. So if we're supposed to recall this money, and I assume they'll give us a couple of months to trade it. So probably what will happen is you'll have till March 1st to use it or lose it. Like, I don't think it'll be, okay, you have 24 hours. I can't imagine that. I think it would be a month or 2 or 3 months to use it. And then as we go to this new currency. But the new currencies, it's just smoke and mirrors if it's not backed by gold, which I don't see how it can be since we don't have any gold. If you have a currency without gold, it's worthless. Don't ever forget that. This is not backed by gold. None of the currencies are backed by gold. They're all worthless. Here comes BRICS saying, you know what? We're going to back our currency by gold because we win if that happens. And the Russians are coming out with a ruble backed by gold. So that's what you have is the new currencies the Russia and the BRICS will be backed by gold. They'll be the only ones worth anything because that's real money. Gold is money. This is toilet paper, right? This is nothing. So keep that in mind. So I don't know about this recall. Again, it was an email, but it was a sales. It was a scam email where some guy's selling something or probably selling financial service. Well, we'll tell you how to get out of it. Oh, buy gold or something stupid like that. But I hate when you get those emails and it's like this whole video for like, who knows, an hour or two. But we will see. So that's the new thing to look at. And that's well, we know it's coming. We know the dollar's collapsing. It's just when, as everybody asks, and when gold goes through the roof, which will be soon. I did hear this. Mark McGuire had his video yesterday. U.S. debt skyrocketing, which we know. See, there's really not much. He's on it with the Australian guys. China secretly acknowledges 25,000 in gold. Well, we know they got 60,000 tons of gold, so this is nothing new. This is on.
McLaren Medicare is your choice for value with no deductibles, no primary care copay.
This is on As Good as Gold. This is the two guys from Australia, and they talked to Alligator. So there's not a whole lot of new in it. Just he's saying that he knows it's collapsing. They know it's collapsing, and it's not much. There's really not much new that I don't talk about already. We know it's price fixed. We know gold, Russia, China has all the gold. Let's go to I think at the 20-minute mark.
So the question on that is that the United States, Europe, and especially Japan are all in a massive debt trap. Could the Bank of Japan be the first to fall over, and what would that do to the price of gold?
Well, obviously in yen, it would try. I mean, the purchasing power of the yen would actually fall very, very substantially, I think, under those circumstances. The problem that the Japanese have is that their debt to GDP, I'm talking about government debt to GDP, is in the order of about 260%.
Wow.
So this rise in interest rates is actually hurting them. And this is why, I'm sure one reason why the Bank of Japan is sitting as firmly as it can on the interest rate, on interest rates, trying to prevent them from rising from current levels. And they've still got negative short-term interest rates. I mean, they just shut their eyes to the whole problem. Quite a lot of the inflation in terms of prices in Japan is actually controlled.
Here's where I lose Alligator. There's no price inflation. So he's saying, prices. The inflation is the money. There is no such thing as price inflation. So here's where I kind of don't. I question if he's an Austrian or not, because this is a basic. There is no price inflation. Prices going up are the effect that the dollar's losing value. That I get. The other part in this interview that he doesn't seem to get is people, like, they asked him how much is gold going to go up, and he says, well, it's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down. It takes more dollars to buy it. Well, that's the inflation that he somehow talks about, price inflation, which doesn't exist. But gold will go up. Forget that the fact that the dollar goes down or not. What we're asking is, when does COMEX get out of the way and the gold price goes to where it should be, 50,000 an ounce? And he can't seem to grasp that concept. He keeps thinking, well, it's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down. We get that, but that's not the question. The question is, with the dollar going down, how much does gold go up? And he can't, it's over his head. So all he says is, well, it's not gold going up. Well, it is going up because of supply and demand once it hits a physical price. So once we forget this 2,000 an ounce bullshit. So let's say it's at $30,000. That's more the true price of gold. Then supply demand takes over and then it goes to 40 or 50. That's the question being asked, but he can't understand that. Let's go.
He said, they don't control the interest rates, the commercial banks do. So, central bank may drop at 0.25%, but commercial banks will investing.
So the question asked was, there's two different interest rates. There's the central bank rate, which is what the central bank charges banks to loan the money. And then there's the regular bank to us. And that's not controlled by the central bank. It's got nothing to do. That's controlled by the inflation. The inflation means my dollar's worth less. So step A, what is inflation? You printed too much dollars and it's losing its value. And at that point, when it loses its value and I loan you money, if I give you $100, I'm going to need 110 back. Because if I get 100 back from your 100, I'm really only getting 90 back because the money you're going to give me isn't worth as much as the money I gave you because they're printing the money, making it worthless. So I got to charge you an interest rate because it's not backed by gold. It's going to change in value. So I got to charge you this interest. So that's why the bank rates to us for houses and cars are much higher than the bank. And that's why it's irrelevant what the Fed does. The Fed rate for interest has no bearing on the credit.
All sorts of different stocks. But they told me that they had their stocks were valued at, or their portfolio, at 560,000.
Here's my
2 years ago.
This is my attack on Wall Street example that I always give you. So let's listen.
And they're bitterly disappointed now that their portfolio has a value of approximately half of that. And yet their financial advisor is saying, no, stay with it.
Let's walk you back to the beginning of this question.
Investing in all sorts of different stocks. But they told me that they had their stocks were valued at, or their portfolio, at 560,000.
Its role, if you like, its dominance in the US economy and all the rest of it. So this guy really does know what he's doing. And if he says something, you listen. If he does something, note, which is precisely what you've done, Daryl. And you are absolutely right to raise that point. Yeah. So to me, the message is very, very clear. It's very much in the category of upgrading it from a storm to a hurricane.
Watch football all season long, live and cable-free.
Yeah. It's very much in the category of upgrading it from a storm to a hurricane.
Exactly. And, like we had a couple of clients come into our office a couple of days ago, and they'd been trusting their financial advisor and investing in all sorts of different stocks. But they told me that they had their stocks were valued at, or their portfolio, at 560,000 2 years ago. And they're bitterly disappointed now that their portfolio has a value of approximately half of that. And yet their financial advisor is saying, no, stay with it, everything's okay, which is what we've been hearing for some time now. But the interesting thing about all of that is that if they'd have been investing, or had they made a decision, and they brought this to my attention, had they been investing in gold 2 years ago, they'd sold their portfolio, right, and thrown everything into gold, they'd be up 30% today instead of being down 50. Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah, right. So no, I like your answer, and I thought that's what you.
See, so that's what I would have told the attack on Wall Street guy, as I tell you. You get out of the market and you buy gold. That's what we told Todd. That's what I tell you, and that's what I've done. Out of the market, out of the banks, into the gold. And you can't lose because there's no risk, because they can't print it to zero. It's as much, it's whatever's out of the ground. They try to price fix it with JP Morgan, but they're losing that because now you have to have physical when you do these derivatives. But as you can see, what is it? What do I tell you? Oh, my financial planner told me to stay in it. Did they ask the financial planner about buying gold? Why didn't the financial planner put him in gold? Because he doesn't get commission. So the bottom line is the financial planner cares about himself, not his customers. His customers are losing money. Do you think the financial planner, cares if they lose all their money? No. He's not telling him to get into gold. He's not mentioning inflation. So even if you have half your portfolio, 250,000, it's not going to be worth 250,000 because the inflation is going to make it worth 200,000. So you're losing money on the inflation and on the value, and this recession we're in. How can the stocks go up? The only stock you could possibly be in now is Coca-Cola and Pepsi. That's it. Or like, a ketchup or chocolate. I mean, something that you eat that's cheap, because that's all you can afford. And again, you're much better off in gold. All right. Attack on Wall Street.
Would say, because he is one of the very, very smart guys in the world. I think he's got about, I think his portfolio is worth, he's got about 8 million shares, something like that. It's massive. But to sell off any portion is telling something, and he owes something that he's not sharing. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I have a question after these facts. You know me, I spread down the list of items, and then I come up with the question. So I've got here the facts. Number one, the Ukraine war is supported by the United States, right? So financially supported by the United States. Now we have an Israeli war supported by the United States. We have the US government interest payment is now, you're right, 980 billion is the last interest rate payment. So you could say $1 trillion. And $1 trillion, by the way, God, is 1,000 billion. Right? The US GDP growth, they tell about now, right? No, it's a million. It's a million. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's 1,000 billion. Yeah, exactly. The US GDP growth, which they talk about, is only coming from government expenditure, not coming from private enterprise. It's coming from government spending. The US financial assets are wildly overpriced, and we've just discussed a part of that. So why is gold completely mispriced? I mean, in Australia, we saw it reach $3,100 an ounce, or let's say, we'll talk US dollars. It went to, I think, 2006, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Stayed there for a couple of days, went back under 1975. It's done that 3 times in the last 3 or so months. And it's so underpriced compared to the amount of currency that's printed. So I know you did say that it's not going to be long, and I'd like to know what your opinion is on the length of time that these guys are capable of still running this episode of $2,000 US per gold, which it should be, 2,500, 3,000. What are your thoughts?
20, 30.
Well, I think the first error is that you can't really look at the relationship between gold and a fiat currency in any quantitative sense, because the determination of the subjective value of the currency is entirely in the population's hands. So they wake up.
So what he's saying is, how do we value the dollar? How do we know what it's worth? And it's subjective. It says $1, what does it buy? Then he's saying, how do you price gold in this dollar that we don't really know what it's really worth? And this is what it's much, much higher. as this is being printed and worth less and less. But what he's saying is subjective. Well, it's $1, but what does the dollar buy? And that's what he kind of struggles with this area.
And they understand that it's the dollar going down, not gold going up. And
as I said, that's bullshit. Gold goes up the same as this goes up. So this goes up because people demand it. More people want it than there are bottles. If 2 people want this, I got 1 bottle. The price goes up based on demand. With gold, the demand is huge, much higher than the price. That's why when I go to the jewelry store and he's sitting there with $2,000 for the he's at $2,000 for his gold, and I laugh because it's worth money. And then he can't sell his jewelry. There's no demand for the jewelry. There is demand for the gold because it's perceived to be too low. So this is the part that Alligator struggles with. He thinks he kind of gets that the dollar is losing value. That should make gold go up, but he's missing is the second half of that. The demand for gold will push the price up. Also, yes, it's in dollars, but it won't stay in dollars. It will then go into gold, will be gold, priced in gold, not in dollars.
Then on, the dollar's got a real problem. So far, everyone I talk to, even in the gold market, believes it's the price of gold that's rising or falling or whatever, not the dollar. They've got it completely the wrong way around. It's the sort of objective, subjective analysis. Which is the objective value? The idea behind money is that is an objective value because any variation in the prices of goods is due to the subjective value that people put on the price of goods, on the value of a good or a service.
Okay, in other words, he's obviously not an Austrian because he could explain it the way I could. The value of goods is determined by the market, by the supply and demand. That's what they put New York strips steaks for $20 and nobody buys them. The market's saying it's too much. It goes down to $15 or $10 for the steak, and then we buy it. And then that's how our supply and demand works. That's how the real market, it's an auction place. So people bid and sell based on the money in their pocket. He's kind of saying that, but he doesn't quite understand Adam Smith, as we can see. He's a banker, but he's not an Austrian. I don't know what he is. He's very confusing. He's not a Keynesian. You think he's an Austrian, and then he makes some of these stupid comments, and you're like, Alligator, you're not an Austrian, are you? So it's all based on the market. What does something cost is based on the market. I'm going to put Oreos at $10 a package. Oh, nobody buys it. I'll lower it to $5. And then that's what it is. I had an argument with the lady at Chinese yesterday. I asked the owner, I says, well, are you getting hurt by the higher prices? He says, no, not really. And I go, well, you're going to be careful. You can't just keep raising your prices. People will not keep buying. And then some lady butts in. I wasn't having a conversation with. I hate when these people just butt in with their 2 cents and they're a bunch of idiots. And she says, well, we understand their prices are going up. And I says, okay, if they charge $50 for General Chow, you're going to pay? Bullshit, you're not. I said, I go to the rib place and I tell him if he charges $45, nobody's going to be buying it. So you can't just, because your costs go up, use that as an excuse. I get their costs are going up, but they can't raise their prices only up to the market. So if the market will bear it. That's what Alligator's trying to say, but he can't. So basically, it's the market that dictates the value of how much Canadian Club or Orioles or Coca-Cola. Every product is determined by if we buy it or not, by money. So that's the thing. But if the inflation goes up, we have less money to buy, and there's goods. The wants, we don't buy as much, but we do buy the needs. So like ice cream, we're not going to buy ice cream, but we will buy apples and oranges. All right, back to Alligator.
The currency has got to be the stable thing. And we all assume that. I mean, if you go and buy something in a shop, the shopkeeper thinks that an Australian dollar is a dollar, that is the constant. But if they're going to sell something off the shelf, which is slow, they've got to lower the price of the thing off the shelf. So quite naturally, they think that all the subjectivity in terms of the price is actually in the goods, not in the currency. Now, as a separate issue, we know that over time, the purchasing power of the currency tends to decline. Why? Because you've got an irresponsible government. I mean, whatever. But from moment to moment,
it declines because of the inflation, and they keep printing the money. That's why it goes down in value, because it's not backed by gold. But he doesn't answer that. So you question Alligator here.
The value, if you like, of a fiat currency is entirely dependent on the faith in which people put in it. And so that objective-subjective relationship between gold and the currency is that gold is the objective value. That is not changing. The subjective value is the currency. That is the one that changes. That's the one that goes up, down.
But what he's missing is gold is not at a free market price. That's what everybody's asking him about. When does gold go up? This part, he cannot understand this concept. He keeps saying, well, the dollar goes down, the price of the gold goes up. Doesn't go up, the dollar goes down, gold's a constant. He's not getting the concept. The concept is there's more demand for gold, which would push the price up, but it's being suppressed by JP Morgan and the London Exchange. We get that. The question simply, when do we blow up COMEX and get the $50,000 an ounce gold that we're expecting, because they are blowing up the dollars and the dollar is losing value. Now, the thing he did get right is the faith in the dollar. There's got to be demand for it. So I can't sell it if nobody wants to buy it, right? This is only worth something if people are willing to use it. The problem is the government steps in and says, well, you're going to get paid in that, and you're going to use it to pay rent and groceries and utilities. So because of that, that's the problem with it. So that's really what's going on. So that's really the question people are asking. When does the value of gold go up? He keeps saying it's the price of the dollar dropping, but the price of the dollar is dropping and the value of the gold is still not going up. So he still doesn't get the concept. The value of gold does go up based on any other. Okay, are you saying that this doesn't go up? My Mahomes 50 count card doesn't go up. It's just the dollar goes down, and I tell him he's full of shit. This goes up because of demand, right? It costs you more money to buy it because of demand, not because of the value of the dollar dropping. So in his world, every price would go up because of the value of the dollar and no demand. And he's wrong. The demand does make the price go up and or down. If steaks are $20, nobody wants to buy them. Well, wait, it's the dollar going down, not the steak price going up. But why does the steak price then go from 20 back to 10 when they can't sell it? Because it's an auction. It's based on supply and demand. It's based on the market. The market says you're too expensive, or, so I'm not going to buy it. And then when you lower the price to where the market's at, so when I'll give you $10 for New York strip, you're up to 20. This is how the Austrians explain it, right? So you got to come down to where the market is. Gold is the price is here, but the market's here. So what he's missing is what the question we're asking is, when does gold go to this price? And he keeps saying, no, it's not. It's the dollar going down. No, it's not the dollar going down. There is demand that raises the price also, which he can't seem to understand that concept.
Normally the value goes down. I was actually looking at this for an article which will be released on Thursday for Gold Money, and the dollar since 1971 has actually lost almost 99%. It's 98.2% of its value. In terms of if you like, in terms of real money. What legally is money and what historically has been money. Of course, you tell this this to people. They know that we've had inflation and all the rest of it, and we know that the central banks have a target of 2% inflation, which basically means that the purchasing power of the dollar over time declines. Well, but nearly 99%. I mean, you must be joking. They don't actually realize what's been happening. So, I mean, that's, the way to look at this is not in the sense that there are so many dollars outstanding and there's only so much gold, let us say, in the central bank's reserves. Therefore, divide the number of dollars by the reserves in the central bank and you get a figure which should cover it. No, that's not the way to look at it at all. The relationship is this objective, subjective, objective, subjective relationship between gold and a fiat currency. As to how long the current situation can continue, we see the debt trap. That's one issue. We see the central banks deeply in negative equity, which is something that can be fixed with the exception of the ECB. That's going to have a real trouble. So that's another issue. You've got commercial banks trying to reduce their exposure to the economy and things like commercial real estate and all the rest of it, and which could bankrupt this bank, that bank, whatever. That's another problem. You've got as energy prices are forced to rise by those nasty Russians and nasty Saudis and nasty Iranians who may indeed close off the Straits of Hormuz, close off the Red Sea if things cut up rough. But even without that, you're going to see, price inflation, headline CPI inflation rise. They'll try and fiddle the way out of it. They always do, but it'll still rise. And so interest rates will continue to rise at the central bank level. You just made the point about contracting bank credit. The shortage of credit means the cost of credit will tend to rise. So that's basically taking out the whole of the private equity industry, which, we've got a very good example of that. Thames Water, which is, I think, our largest water utility in terms of households being served, is pretty much bankrupt. It's been thrown a lifeline. But the reason for that is that, good old utility business, which is nice and stable and all the rest of it, to which we add that the regulator works out all the numbers and says, this is the profit you can have. So they're guaranteed a profit. It's quite simple. So what happened was that when interest rates were close to zero, private equity goes in, buys it, cost of funding, square root of sweet nothing. Now interest rates are rising. Whoops, we got a problem. Even they're going bust. Simple businesses which have been overloaded with debt due to what's been happening over the last 10 years, 15 years, they're going bust. That's another one. What does government do? Government basically bails it all out. So that's a problem. And that's before we talk about the loss of influence that the dollar, the king dollar, has over the rest of the world, which is gradually being eroded by the mistakes that the American administration are making in their foreign policy. Trying to stop Russia, contain Russia, conquer Russia. Whatever the objective is immaterial. But the Ukraine is a disaster. I hear that there's a group of 50 countries which are supporting Ukraine, and a committee of these countries are now talking to Zelensky with a view to seeing to what extent a compromise with the Russians can be found, which will involve ceding territory to the Russians. Do you think that Putin's going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, we can agree? No, what he'll do, because his objective is completely different, and that is to just get the Americans out of Europe, get the Europeans on his side, which basically means chucking the Americans out and us if we continue to behave as we do, like the Russians' pet poodle. Not the Russians, sorry, the America's pet poodle. So you can see that that what's going to happen. I think that America will just walk away from it, just as they did in Afghanistan. That's 2 walkaways in President Biden's first term. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the reason it's going to happen is because they've run out of ammunition. They've now got to concentrate all their efforts on the Israeli-Hamas situation. I mean, they can't fight 2 wars. They can't even fight 1 war. So you can see that, the loss of face as they walk away from the Ukraine will only be offset by the fact that their priorities have changed for very obvious and sensible strategic reasons. We need to protect Israel from Hamas, Hezbollah, whatever, which if they get involved, God save us is all I can say. So you can see all these factors are all coming together. And they're also hidden factors. You've got the whole of the derivatives thing, which is a huge, great credit overhang over the whole banking system. And of that, if you look at the foreign exchange exposure in the form of exposure in non-American banks, in other words, outside the US credit system, then according to the Bank of International Settlements, we're looking at a further $90 trillion. $90 trillion.
Sure
That
takes
is
him a
the
while to answer a
euro-dollar
question, huh?
market, if you like. And there's another 10 trillion of bonds, euro-dollar bonds. We think that the euro-dollar bond market is the extent of it. No, it's not. The credit market is 9 times bigger. So all these factors, it's like sort of Hitchcock's The Birds, they're all gathering on top of the roof of the house of these people trapped in it, and we know what's going to happen. You don't go outside because you'll get pecked to death.
Yeah.
That's roughly where we are. How long it'll take, only time will tell. But you can see the whole thing gathering. And I think the other question, which we don't know the answer to, is we don't know when it'll start, but we also don't know how long it'll take. It could happen very, very quickly, because the point about this objective-subjective relationship, when people realize that actually it's not the dollar which is the objective in terms of pricing everything, it's subjective itself. When people realize that, then I think the dollar is toast, and the whole of the fiat currency system on top of it. And going back to the point that you were asking about earlier, Daryl, this is why the Singaporeans, Chinese, and the Russians have been accumulating gold like billion.
Yeah.
Because they know it's real money.
Okay, it's the longest answer I've ever heard of. So basically, how long will it take should be, we're not sure. It's all these other factors. So basically, we know it's happening. We know it's happening soon. All you can do is buy gold and silver to protect yourself. That's it. The U.S. is going bankrupt with these wars that I don't even know why they're involved. But it all comes down to when people don't want to play with the dollar anymore. So once that auction ends, everything in life is free market economics, Austrian. It's all auctions. Do I want this girl or that girl? Do I want to bet on this game or that game? Do I want to play poker? How do I want to play poker? Do I want to play craps? Do I want to play the slot machine? It's all, I've got so much money. How do I want to do it? You're going to see a lot of people at the casinos playing slots to try to make money because, the jobs are going away. Prices for things he thinks are going to go up. See, it's funny how he doesn't say, like the utilities and everything. He doesn't say, well, that's based on the price. That's based on the dollar going down. Doesn't say that. So he doesn't quite get the concept. Again, there's no price inflation. It's the only thing that inflates is the money supply. How do you have price inflation? So what's inflating? The money, the cost. How do you inflate the cost? You can't. I can print 1 billion of these or 1 trillion of these. That inflates the supply, which then lowers the price. The more you have, the less it's worth. How do you inflate prices? It doesn't make any sense. Well, we're going to charge more for Coke. Well, what does that mean? And it's you're not inflating the price. So it makes no sense. So he's again clueless to Austrian economics, unfortunately. So Greg and John, why hasn't the dollar been lost by now? It is because they won't let it. It is lost. It's just people don't understand that. If you don't have the concept of the dollar has no value, you think it has a value. Once people don't want the dollar anymore, once people realize it's the dollar. So when I go to the grocery store, it's because the dollar's losing value, not because they're raising prices. The dollar's gone. And what do they say? The Joseph Goebbels of the U.S. sits there and says, well, it's inflation's prices going up. So we're going to try to get the prices down. And the prices have nothing to do with inflation. It's the effect of it, but not the cause of it. It's not what inflation is. It's the effect that the dollar's worth less. So he kind of gets it, but he doesn't get it. He gets it in gold. He doesn't really get it. And then the rest of the products. So the dollar loses value. The energy that goes up in price is because the dollar lost value, and the supply is there's less of it, so they charge more. They can't just charge more, because there's alternatives. There's always alternatives. Buy a solar heater or buy one of those heaters for the house or whatever. So yeah, it's can you substitute? It's all about substitution. Instead of steak, I'll buy chicken. Instead of salmon, I'll buy hamburger. So there's the substitution I need to eat, but I can buy this as opposed to that. And you stay away from the sugar, and then it keeps you away from the doctor and keeps you healthy, and keeps you less hungry. So that's kind of what we do. So he really doesn't understand. He's a banker. He's not an economist, as you can tell. He even makes a comment. Even my Austrian friends think this and this. He didn't talk to me about it. I would straighten him out. So that's why I'm surprised they don't ask me on these shows, because I would actually tell them what the hell's really going on. And I guess they don't want to hear it. But it's always the same guys going on these shows who don't have a fucking clue, like the cowboy guy and Rick Rude and all these idiots that really are clueless, or Andy Scheckman trying to sell his gold. Oh, the gold sales are out. If we all buy gold, the price will go up. You don't have a fucking clue, do you? It's paper gold. That's why that's the price we're looking at. That's why it's down, which is being blown up. So again, I'm just shocked that Alligator doesn't sit there and talk about the paper gold, and he doesn't say, the question is, when does paper gold blow up and we get a real gold price, not this derivative gold price? And it went right over his head. Well, it's the money going down, not the gold going up. Okay, but the money's been going down and gold's not going up. So you just screwed up your own answer, because that's not what it is. It's the derivative. It's the paper gold going down. If that's your case, the dollar's lost 99% of its value. Why isn't gold $25,000 an ounce now? According to you, that's what it should be. But you're not talking about the paper gold price fixing, are you? That goes over your head. He knows about it, but that's why. What the question is why are we still using the paper price, and why is the paper price still pushing it down? And he can't comprehend that. But so I was watching that yesterday. So sometimes you think he's really good, and then some points he just goes right over his head. I like him, but I think Egon's the only one that really is an economist that really gets it. And I think basically Egon says the money's worthless, it's going to zero, and we're buying gold because it's the only safe place, and they can't print gold. So the price of gold will go up and it'll never go down because they can't print it the way fiat currencies. So even Alligator, when he talks about fiat currencies, they always go down because they print. They inflate it because they can print it, and they always think the answer is printing more. And that's like a diet. Well, I'll have chocolate cake. Okay. Well, I don't know why I keep gaining weight. I'll eat more chocolate cake. That'll stop me from being hungry and I'll lose weight. And it's like, no, you're eating the wrong thing. You don't want to eat chocolate cake. And if you eat more of it, you're going to gain more weight and have diabetes. So what are you talking about? And that's the part he can't get. That's the reason that the dollars all go out, is because they're not backed by anything. And they just keep printing and printing because the people in charge are Keynesians that keep printing and printing and printing the dollar, assuming that nothing will happen to it, which we know you can't keep printing it. It'll go to zero because eventually it loses value. And the key is nobody wants it. It's the 60-year-old woman at the bar that nobody wants. We want the 25-year-old girl at the bar who's attractive and fit. That's who we want. We don't want a 60-year-old fat, ugly woman at the bar. Who wants her? That's the dollar. She's the 60-year-old woman at the bar. Nobody wants her. So she's about 59 years old now. And the question is, well, when do we not want her? Well, as soon as people realize she's the 60-year-old fat woman at the bar. And that's what he can't kind of comprehend. That's the reason the dollar, it's when there's no demand for it, right? No, people realize it's worthless. And it's not the prices going up. It's the demand. It's not that Coke is now $3 a bottle. It's, wait a minute, it's because the dollar's gone out that makes Coke $3 an hour. And that's what he's trying to say, but he can't say it. So in other words, when we realize that the reason Coke's $3 a bottle or Oreos are $5 a pack is not because they raise prices, it's because the value of the dollar dropped. Then you realize I don't want the dollar anymore. But that's a hard one for Americans to realize. They don't want it anymore. But as they try to buy things and things become more expensive, and then they never say inflation is we fucked the dollar. It's the prices went up. No, inflation is you fucked the dollar. So people don't realize that, and they don't tell them that. They don't teach them that. So here we just sit going, God, things are expensive. I'll stop buying, which causes a depression because then I got to lay off. My sales are down. I got to cut my costs. I'm going to lay off people like Ford and GM does. And before you know it, the economy's down, which it already is. People aren't working because nobody's making money. And if the government's doing all the spending and the government's keeping you from working, well, we're going to give you all this money on unemployment or Social Security. You go, oh, shit, I don't even have to work. And so you don't work. And that keeps you from buying what you would buy. So, unfortunately, Alligator's he's not as strong as he needs to be in economics. Unfortunately, he doesn't understand. They're printing the money to death. And yes, the value of the dollar is dropping. However, that's irrelevant on gold because gold's being suppressed. That's the real question, and he can't answer it because he doesn't know. Or he doesn't say, I guess he doesn't know about paper gold, which I think he does. And he keeps saying it's the dollar dropping, not gold going up, which is bullshit. Gold at 2,000 is not what the real price is anyway. It's held there by paper. And the question is, what is the real physical price? Maybe that's the way you have to ask the question. When is the real physical price of gold going to happen? Not this bullshit paper price. Once that question's asked the Alligator, maybe he answers it. Not, well, the dollar's going down. So, if the dollar goes down, gold doesn't really go up. Well, what's gold price? See, the problem is you can't answer the question because he doesn't know what the gold price is. The gold price is not $2,000. The question is, when is gold hit 20,000? And he keeps saying, well, it's not the price going up. Yeah, it is because it's being suppressed. So he kind of misses that whole concept of the question. Anyway, so that's what Austrian economics says. If you go buy steaks, if they're too expensive, you don't buy it. If you go to Chinese, it's too expensive, you don't buy it. You buy what you can afford. And we only have so much money, and it's being printed, and the value of the money is less and less and less. So I tell you to get into gold and silver because it holds its value. It never goes down in value. The value of it is not close to what it really is because it's been suppressed. So gold at 2,000 an ounce is not the real price of gold. The real price of gold would be in physical, not a suppressed price, which is at least 20,000 an ounce, and silver is at least 2,000 an ounce when it's not suppressed, which it is. Once we get to that actual physical price that isn't suppressed, that alligator can't seem to comprehend, that's what we're waiting on. And yes, we know the dollar's going down, and we know we're buying gold to protect ourselves because the dollar is going to zero. So we need gold to prevent our wealth because our wealth's going to shit holding the dollar. So that's why you don't invest in stocks. That's why you don't have your money in the bank. Because if you got 10 grand in the bank today, with this inflation, it's worth 7 grand. Then it's worth 5 grand. And so you're losing money because you don't know the real value of the money. We know the value of gold's wrong, but we don't even know what the value of the dollar is. He's calling it subjective. That's bullshit. It's market driven. So we know a dollar is worth a dollar. The question is, what does the dollar buy? And it buys, 2 cents of what it used to buy. It doesn't buy what you can buy it for the dollar. He's calling subjective is just, it's what the market will bear. If the market says bubble gum was 10 cents is now $1, well, there you go. The market's talked. Your dollar's worth a pack of gum. It takes you, $10 a pound to buy a New York strip. But the market controls that. You can't sell it for 20 because that nobody buys it and then it sits on the shelf. So you got to move your inventory. So they lower the price. So it's such a strategic game that we control because we're the market. And basically the Keynesians or the government or Obama or George Soros want to control that part of the game, which they can't. So they're trying to control the prices you can. So if there is a recall in dollars, it's just going to a new dollar. It's not going digital. And it'll probably be the same value. So I'll give you 30,000 of this dollar and I get 30,000 of the new dollar. That's all that can happen. So the banks aren't going anywhere. They got to give you the money. Were you going to go to a central bank for it? Or you give me the money and it'll go to digital? Oh, now the banks are just going to go out of business. So there's no more JP Morgan. There's no more Wells Fargo. Really? And the central bank is set up. It's set up to deal with the banks. It's not set up to deal with 350 million people and all the credit unions and all that. So there's no way you'll have digital because where the bank's going. So if you have digital in your account, well, what happens if you get money? I mean, how do you get money? That's not digital. Does that just go to zero? I mean, that's the whole concept of economics. You get paid for a skill in a service or a product. So if I want to sell my whiskey for $100, somebody's going to give me $100. He's got to give me digital dollars that I put into my checking account to use my debit and credit cards with, I guess. Is that the difference? So I can't hold my money. I can't go to the gold store and buy an ounce of gold with $2,000. I got to go there and buy an ounce of gold with 2,000 digital dollars. Does that make sense? And does the value, I go when you say I don't have any money in my account? That's not going to go over very big. So again, is there demand for that service? You want to come out with digital dollars. Is there demand for it? Do we want that? No, we don't. If there's no demand, it won't work. Just like electric cars, they're trying to shove it down your throat. There's no demand for it. Get out of any electric car stocks, get out of it because they won't sell. And with what's going on and the dollar collapsing, who the fuck's going to buy an electric car? I mean, you probably should. Okay, I'll take out a loan for 100 grand, which I'll never pay back because the dollar will be out. So maybe I should buy, but I got to charge it and I got to do all this shit. No, it's not worth it. I wouldn't drive an electric car if they paid me 100 grand to do it. And let's check. Bengals, I don't even know if I can get a line on them. 49ers 7-0. Where's my Bengals? Or are they later? Oh, it says 6.5. We're 3rd and 7 at the Houston 32. There we go. And the Lions, oh no, they're still 2.5. Okay. So that's your economics. That's why we're in the gold, is because you can't print it, because we can't trust the politicians and whoever's running the dollar. Just keep printing it and it goes to zero. And then there's too much debt, 35 trillion in debt, all this debt outside of the US that's going to sell it back to us and get their money and put it back into Japan and German and France and Italy currencies, because they're figuring out the dollar's worthless. See, but there's the question is, why hasn't the dollar been lost? It has been lost. We're buying gold, but until everybody realizes it, and nobody's being told. And when I tell somebody, they don't listen. So it's going to take a while, but once they realize they have zero in the bank, they're going to sit there and go, oh, now I get it, and it'll be too late. It's sort of like the Titanic. That's why I use that example. It hit the iceberg. So your question is why hasn't everybody gone to the lifeboat? It's hit the iceberg, it's filling with water, and yet people are still in their rooms and not doing, not going to lifeboats. Why is that? That's your question. And then the answer is because they won't realize it until the water comes up to their chest, and they're going to go, oh shit, we better get off. Now we realize it. As I say, I saw that hit the iceberg. I walked, grabbed my gold, and went to the lifeboat. And I'm okay. I'm in the lifeboat. Lower me away. I've already know that we hit the iceberg. I got to get in the lifeboat. That's what you do, because the boat's sinking. And that's what I've done now. I see the boat sinking, the dollar, and I went to the lifeboat, gold and silver, and I bought it because I see that's what's happening. Is that my TV? The blue thing on the bottom? Yeah. That's a poster from Van Gogh. So I was in the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, and I didn't know I was getting it. I thought I was just getting a little 8.5 by 11, or either that or they gave me that. It only costed like €5 or €6 at the time, and so I just got a cheap frame from. I was going to get it framed. It was like $100. I go, this is a poster. This is like a $10 poster. Why would I spend $100 on the frame? So I finally found frames like that. If you go to Myers, they do have them very cheap, and I bought it there. It was like $15, $20. But so it's people not understanding, and this is why Bobby asked everybody, do you own gold? Because people don't get it. People think that they're safe in the dollar. For some reason, it's like trusting Madoff. Okay, Madoff, you did the scam, you're in jail, but I still trust you. At what point do you not trust Madoff? And at what point do you not trust the government? They've lied to us about the moon. They've lied to us about 9/11. They lied to us about Kennedy, both Kennedys. They lie to us about a war that we have no business in. Everything that comes out of their mouth is a lie for their own good. 9/11 was a gold robbery. It had nothing to do. We blew up the building on our own with demolition. Just like we did the Stardust and the Sands in Vegas, we did to the buildings. So, but they'll lie to us. So why do you continue to listen to them? Why do you think the money's good? Oh, Biden said everything's good. So why would he lie to us? He hasn't told us the truth yet. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. Why would you trust anybody? The only person you can trust is yourself. Now, can you trust me? Well, if I tell you something and it turns out to be the truth, you can trust me because I'm telling you honest things, and I keep telling you honest things. And you go, oh, okay, yeah, he says something. He says the sky's blue, and oh, yeah, it's blue. So you learn who you can trust and who you can't. That's the problem with most relationships. You trust the other person to a point, or you don't trust them. Either way, you're kind of going, well, can I trust them? And you don't know, and then you do, and then they burn you, and you go, well, I'm not going to trust anybody. So there's people you can trust, but you have to know that you can trust them. And that's basically the point. Like, I believe I can trust. Daria, I think I can trust, but I haven't met her yet, so I don't know. I'll know more when we're in Turkey or Russia together, but you really got to know the person and know if you can trust them. Like Kenzie, I can't trust. She won't send me a picture or a Skype or anything where she's saying, hi, professor, it's me, and have a conversation. I trust Greg and John and Alex and Bobby Bo more than I trust Kenzie, because I can at least talk to them here. And that's really the thing. Like, I'm not sure who Kenzie is. She could be a Russian guy. I can't trust her. That's the problem. She wants money. Well, forget it then. I'm not going to give you money. I don't know who you are. And Jenna, I've at least met, so I can trust her a little bit more. I think I can trust her until I can't. And that's the problem. That's the whole problem in life, is who do you trust? You have a job interview, they lie to you through their teeth. Oh, you're going to do this and this. And like my other job, working as a controller. Oh, y'all have a staff of 4, and we're going to clean it up. It's filthy, and we'll clean it up, and we'll get you a new computer system. And everything was a lie. I didn't have a staff. They never cleaned it up. And I wasn't even doing, I had no computer to do my job. It was Excel, but the mainframe where all the information was, I didn't have. So they lied to me 3 times, So it's you're lied to constantly, and then it's how do you deal with the lies? But this is the problem. Why do you believe the government's lies? I don't get it. The one person I would never believe are the government, right? So that's why I don't listen to the news and I don't watch the news. So I just ignore that part of it. And then I find guys like Alligator and Egon and sometimes Mark McGuire, and I listen to them. But because of my skill set, I know if they're telling me the truth or not. So I know if I can trust them or not. And when I get these Reicherts and Rick Rudes and Maloney's and Andy Scheckmeds and the Cowboy, I know I can't trust them because I know they don't know. When they don't know the difference between physical and gold price, and when they don't know what inflation is, how the hell can I trust them? That's why I tell you, if you go to a financial advisor or stockbroker, you got 50 grand. What do I do with it? I mean, it's simple. Buy gold with it. But if you want to make it more difficult than it should be, then what you do is, so you go to a financial advisor because you don't know, you want to learn. You're never going to learn from them, but okay, you're going to learn here, but you won't learn from them. So then you go, and that's why I tell you, ask them about gold. And they won't tell you about gold. You get up and leave because they're too stupid to talk to. You can't trust them. Oh, buy the stocks. That's what they're going to tell you because they make commission on it, not that it's going to help you. So you got to get away from them. So you can't trust them. So off you go. And financial planner, they're all going to put you in an annuity and a stock with it. Like you're going to retire. Well, buy a stock with a dividend and get an annuity, put in 50 grand, and you'll get, 9% a month. They won't tell you about inflation. They won't tell you about gold. If you have gold, you don't need a dividend stock, and they don't tell you that the stock goes down. What do you think is going to happen? So you buy Coca-Cola for a 4% dividend. So I'm going to get, $2,000 a month on Coke. Well, what happens when the price of Coke goes down and they start cutting their dividend because of the inflation and nobody can afford to buy? Then what happens? And the money that you get's inflated. So you get 4% in Coke. So let's say that's $2,000 a month. Okay, I'm going to live off the $2,000 a month. Wait a minute, but there's inflation. So the $2,000 a month's only worth $1,000 a month. You know, what? Wait a minute. I'm losing value on my money because you stupidly put me in annuities and dividend stocks that are in dollars. So I'm still in dollars, and the value of the dollar is losing. So I'm getting fucked there. Why aren't I in gold that doesn't lose its value? Because they don't know about it. They're clueless to the gold. Has the value, can't lose the value, and they don't even understand the difference between paper and physical. And they'll say, well, gold doesn't do anything. It doesn't go to zero, and the demand's huge for it. So it's a product that's got a huge demand for. It's an asset, it's money, and you can't lose with it because there's too much demand, and the price isn't even close to reality, and it's blowing up. So you ask the financial planner these questions and they can't give you the answer. You're like, okay, you can't give me the answer. What the fuck? So, I mean, that's basically what it is if they can't they give you an answer, but it's a lie. It's not truthful. It's to help benefit them. That's the problem. So how do you trust a stockbroker? You can't even trust them because you can't even, there's all he's going to tell you is what's best for him. He wants the commission. He's not going to tell you. There's a thing in The Big Short near the end. They're in Vegas, and he's talking to this Oriental guy, and the guy works for Morgan Stanley, whatever, and he's supposed to sell them products that are Morgan Stanley products. So he theoretically works for Morgan Stanley, not for the customers. And then Steve Carell kind of figures it out, and and he's so then he goes into the casino. But basically, that's the point. They're not working for you. They don't want you to get rich. They're the ones who want to get rich, but they don't understand inflation. So the question of inflation, nobody understands it. Right? Nobody gets that you're basically making the dollar, you're making this worthless. This is what's happening. The greed that comes over and the illusion that you can't print this to death are the problem, right? Oh, I'm just going to keep printing it. I have the printing press. I'm going to print and print and print. And you know what? We won't have inflation if we go to digital dollars, because then I'll just use it on the computer. I'll just add $1 billion to my account. Then there won't be inflation. Oh, really? Is it backed by gold? No. Then there'll still be inflation. So I think maybe that's what they think. Instead of printing it, they'll just use it digitally. I don't know about tracking people. You track me on the internet, right? Check my searches. It's a big deal. I don't get the point. I don't get the problem. I'm on WhatsApp talking to Jenna and Daria. Are you tracking that? And if you are, so what? I'm talking to my girlfriend. What's the problem? So I think they have better things to do than watch our searches and watch our text on WhatsApp and on our emails. I think they have better things to do. I think if they need you, if they think you're a terrorist or something's going on, then I think they have your data. But otherwise, I don't think they're looking at it. So as far as the dollar, it's already at zero. It's worthless right now, but people don't realize it. So they'll just keep using it, thinking it has a value, wondering why they go to the grocery store and it's $100 now for chicken and hamburger and mouthwash and wait a minute, I bought 10 things. Really, the one thing that's really cheap is oil. It's only, I fill up, it's $3.20 for a gallon. So when I fill up my car, it's $40. The way the inflation is, I mean, that's like 20 cents a gallon. I mean, if we go back to the real dollar. So that's probably the cheapest thing you have, but you don't realize it's cheap because you don't realize the value of the dollar. And that's what's all hidden, and that's why it's taking time. But once it's realized, and it will be realized, it's always realized that the dollar, that's what history has taught us. London, France, Spain, Amsterdam, Rome, it's all realized. At some point, they realize it doesn't have a value. And as soon as that, the party's over. And it's over quickly. Once they realize it, the party's over quickly. So keep that in mind. Anyway, let's go watch some football. It's 1:30. I'm going to go to the pool, go watch a little bit, and root for San Diego to beat the Lions. And anyway, so have a good day. Good luck to you. www.teaserking.com. We will see what happens, but it's very hard because you're dealing with a lot of fourth stringers, fifth stringers, third stringers. You have a few. That's why we go with Joe Burrow and Mahomes, because those are the superstars playing against third and fourth stringers. They're going to eat them alive. So that's why you tend to go there. And the problem is you got a Joshua Dobbs, and you got Love and Pickett and Levis and Mayfield and Trevor Lawrence. You got a bunch of guys that shouldn't even be in the league. I'm looking, you might have 15 quarterbacks drafted in the first round this year. I mean, because you even get to like the guy from LSU now. You've got all the Pac-10 quarterbacks. You've got the Texas, Oklahoma quarterbacks. So it's just Florida State's quarterback. So you've got a bunch of very good quarterbacks, much better than what's in the league now. So I would see them coming in. And what I don't get is like, what's going on with the Tampa Bay and whatchamacallit, their backup. I can't think of his name. I got 100 names in my head, and then I try to pick it. I want to say Kurtz, so that's not right. Trask. So where's Trask? Why isn't somebody trading for him? And why is Tampa using Mayfield instead of Trask? Why are they using Mayfield? And then you look at their coach. Why is the coach still there? He's terrible. If you can't win with Tom Brady, you're probably not going to win with Mayfield or whoever. So it gets, some of these guys that are not playing. But then it's even Joshua Dobbs. You rather have Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, or Joshua Dobbs? I mean, if the answer is Joshua Dobbs, then we can't bet anymore because these guys are too stupid. And that's the other thing. You have a lot of idiots in charge. Just like the government, you have people printing the money to zero because they don't get you can't. Or they don't want to, or they're greedy, or they're yes men. Putin does that. He puts people in his government that are yes men and that are stupid. That way he never runs into a risk of them overthrowing him because they're not smart. So he doesn't bring smart people in. He has advisors, but but they're not in the government type of thing. All right. I will see you tomorrow about 1-ish. We'll talk about the weekend and football. Hopefully I do as good today as I did yesterday. Yesterday was great. I finally hit the second half with some teasers. I've been getting frustrated hitting the first half, and then night comes, boom, 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 loser, loser, loser. I'm like, fuck. Yesterday it wasn't. It was winner, 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 and it was perfect. As the Kansas Oklahoma State teaser both lost, and the Air Force USC over teaser both lost, and everything else. I had Georgia, Alabama with the pro today, and everything else. So very good. All right. Have a nice day. Buy your gold and silver. You don't have much time left. If they do ask you to switch your money, it's you take it to the bank. You take 10 grand, you take it to the bank. They give you the new stuff. At some point, you're going to use the new stuff at the grocery store and to pay your bills. And that's it. And the gold will still be worth a ton. I'm not sure what happens to the credit cards. I assume the new stuff is used to pay the credit cards. So will it be 1 for 1? So 10,000 buys you 10,000, then the credit card stays. If 10,000 only buys you 5,000, Now you got to reprice the credit card. And then how do you reprice your assets, your car and your house? How do you reprice that? If they do reprice gold, it doesn't matter. Gold's still paper. So let's say gold's now $1,000 an ounce with the new stuff. If they go half, well, we know gold's not 2,000 an ounce. We know it's not 1,000 an ounce. And we know the new paper, if it isn't backed by gold, is worthless also. So keep that in mind. And I don't see how it can be backed by gold since we don't have any gold. And if they say it is backed by gold, then I'd want to test it. Say, okay, here's $100. I want $100 worth of gold, and see what they say. I don't think they'll say it's gold back because they don't believe in gold, which is scratch your head, shake my head there. How do you not understand what gold is? It's money. It's an asset. It's the only thing with a big value. What are you talking about? All right. So anyway, have a good day. Good luck to you. Enjoy your Sunday. www.teaserking.com. Thanks very much. I got to take a picture for Terry. Ciao, everybody.